Hi, this is Marcus Pulis, and this is Aquarian Anarchy. As usual, if you could, go ahead and hit that like button, share this one if you like it at the end, and please subscribe. Hit that little bell so you know when we're going to have new content out. As usual, we don't bug the crap out of you. You're going to get one of these videos per week, and so that's about it. So I'm going to dive right into this week's news, and I guess the good side of it is that there's not really a whole lot going on, which means they aren't raping us too bad this week. But we did have a few things that came through, and what's really nice about having a kind of a slow news week is that I was able to kind of investigate what they're doing behind the scenes and what they're not talking about. So that's really good. Um, the only thing that is really kind of pressing is that the Senate both debated and passed the resolution prohibiting war with Iran without congressional approval. This will be ignored completely, and will never see the light of day because Trump doesn't care. But the Senate has took on SJ Resolution 68 to direct the removal of the United States Armed Forces from hostilities against the Islamic Republic of Iran and have not been authorized by Congress. This joint resolution directs the President to terminate the use of U.S. armed forces for hostilities against Iran unless especially authorized by congressional declaration of war or specific authorization for use of military force against Iran. The motion to proceed was agreed to by a vote of 51 to 45. When faced several amendments to include the amendment, quote, to exempt from the termination requirement United States Armed Forces engaged in operations directed at designated terrorist organizations. Kane motion to the table the amendment. Basically, what this is them saying, hey, we shouldn't be attacking Iran, but if you're going to attack Iran, you should get a declaration of war as the Constitution prescribes. And of course, they've never cared about that. Especially haven't cared about it since World War II. They don't care. They're going to do whatever the hell they want. They don't, because Trump is a dictator, and that's where it's at. And if they were bound by something, they would just go, oh, okay, Mr. President, I'll do whatever the hell you want me to, because that's what the government does. War is nothing more than a means to, it's murder with the purpose of expanding a tax base, and they're not going to stop doing that because that's what governments do. They kill and they steal. So, from NPR, this is about the same story. That was from the congressional reports. But right now, this is from the NPR. The Senate approved a bipartisan resolution to curb the president's war powers when it comes to Iran, a rare rebuke and effort to reassert Congress's authority. Because Congress has realized, at least realized, that they don't do anything anymore. Everything is done by fiat by the president, which is really just the people who are pulling his strings behind the scenes and telling him to do stuff. That's what's going on. But they have to pretend like they care. So they've passed this. The vote was 55 to 45, with 8 Republicans joining all the Democrats to pass the measure. This is, again, going to be non-binding. They're not going to do crap about it. But at least they said it, and it's going to run cover for the Democrats so they can pretend to be anti-war. The tally fell short of the 2/3 needed to override a presidential veto. Like I said, it's not going to matter, and they know it, and that's why they voted for it, because they knew that this is going to give them some political cover, but they're not actually going to have to do anything. Virginia Democratic Senator Tim Kaine led the charge on the resolution, which would ban the president from ordering any new offensive strikes against Iran. It would still allow the president to order strikes in case of self-defense and against imminent attack. We've talked about imminent before. The Cheney doctrine says that imminent means sometime in my lifetime or maybe my kids' lifetime, something might happen. That's what imminent means to neocons. It doesn't matter if it's going to be imminent or not. They're going to do whatever the hell they want to do, whenever the hell they want to do, and they just have to pretend, because if the American people ever realize that they're completely and totally enslaved, they might arise up and go after them. So early on, the legislation garnered 3 Republican co-sponsors: Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Mike Lee of Utah. Good for them. And at least one other GOP member, Todd Young of Indiana. Todd Young did something I can agree with. Oh my God, I think I might just die, because he's a worthless piece of crap. And most of these people are worthless piece of crap, so hey, it is what it is. I see who would support the measure. With other Republicans signaling they would vote yes as well. The resolution just says no war with Iran unless you come to make that case to Congress. Which he'll do, which he'll get, and which doesn't really matter. But, they pretend like that they're trying to. Like I said, all this is smoke and mirrors, as it always is. And what's funny is I notice I say the same stuff sometimes, like smoke and mirrors, but that's what all they do. They always just pretend. And I also say bullcrap a lot, because they're full of crap, a lot, and it's all bullcrap. So the resolution is sure, it's passed, all that. We'll see what it says. Anyway, but if we're not willing to have the discussion, we shouldn't be forcing people to risk their lives, said Kaine. Shut up. This dude is going to be the same one stamping some stuff when Trump goes, you convinced me. We need to do it. We just got to do it, because that's the way it is. I'm sorry. Because they're all warmongering assholes. And so that's what it is. The move comes more than a week after the Senate acquitted President Trump in a highly partisan impeachment trial. They cannot forget this impeachment trial that didn't matter. They distracted the living hell out of people for months with this. They got to keep the good times rolling. So the War Powers Resolution was filed before the trial began in wake of escalating tensions with Iran. The Democratic-led measure needed at least 4 Republicans to sign on for the measure to reach the simple majority of the Senate needed for passage. Lee said that the measures focus on imbalance of power and has given way to the presidency, and it's time for Congress to reclaim its authority. How about none of them have any authority? How about they don't have any authority? Because fuck your authority. How about that? How about we just say, nope, you don't get any authority? How about you are some kind of psychopath and I don't need psychopath running my life? How about I can do my own thing? How about I own myself? How about my flag is black? That means I'm an anarchist. So how about all of you people who are in Congress, every damn one of you, go fuck yourself? How about that? How about we just handle that? All right, so anyway, but we need congressional authorization. We've been lied to. This is Lee. We've been lied to by the Pentagon for years. You've been lied to by everybody for years. You lie. What I find funny is they come out and they're like, they lied to us. I'm so shocked. because they didn't have Gulf of Tonkin, and they didn't have, 9/11, it was fire. It melted the steel. They're going to lie. That's what governments do. They lie. So anyway, we don't want any more wars without people's elected representatives being able to debate. Okay. So anyway, but I guess he's saying some stuff. So I guess what's sad is as these tools work, Mike Lee's not so half bad. of the psychopaths, he's one of the less murderous and thefty kind of burglars. So him and Rand Paul are out there butt fucking in the weeds while everybody's trying to kill everybody. So whatever. But anyway, all right. Collins said that Congress can't be sidelined by these important decisions because that's what matters, because we shouldn't be killing people for no damn reason. We ignore that, but we got to be talked to about it. It's long overdue, the main Republican said. It reasserts Congress's constitutional role and recognizes the framers did not vest in the presidency the authority to declare war unilaterally. Bullcrap. Like Spooner said, it doesn't matter. Either it wasn't meant to restrain power, or it has been completely ineffective, but the Constitution is a joke. So anyway, tensions remained for U.S. and Iran. On January 3rd, Trump green-lighted a U.S. drone strike that killed top Iranian general Qasem Soleimani, which led to increased tension with Tehran. So, anyway, by launching dozens of ballistic missiles at blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, the supporters of this new Senate version will force the president. I ain't gonna force him to do shit. That ain't gonna happen. He's gonna do whatever the hell he wants because he's just a puppet on the string, and the people that are pulling his strings, well, they're pulling their strings too. So that's all that really matters. So anyway, supporters say the new Senate version will force the president to make a statement on their concerns. So he gonna talk some bullshit. There you go. Talk some bullcrap for us. For a good bit, you can just come on out. We need to have an lecture on how we need to kill a bunch of people for no reason. So you're gonna do that. About what they call perpetual wars. Like Afghanistan's not already a perpetual war. The bottom line is everybody hoorah'd when we were going into Afghanistan, or for that matter, Iraq. It's been forever since Afghanistan started. It is a perpetual war. It's going on forever because that's the best way to enslave us and make a bunch of people some money. So it is what it is. Quote, I think we've been at war too long in too many places, and it's time to talk about bringing the troops home, said Paul, this is Rand, one of the Republican co-sponsors of the legislation. Quote, it's not so much about rebuking the president, it's about rebuking all of us for not giving permission for being at war so long. Again, the argument isn't should we have war, it's why the hell didn't they come talk to us so we could put our stamp of approval on it and make it good to go to war? This is the argument that, and I worked for Ron Paul, I like Ron Paul, but god damn it, just stop arguing to go to the damn Constitution, because they're just, even if they do go to the Constitution way, they're still just gonna do it. And I get the whole, well, they'll put their vote on the American people don't care. They're watching Cats and posting about bullshit on Facebook. They don't pay attention to none of that stuff. It is what it is. So the House has signed that it could pass the Senate version, or signals that it could pass the version of the War Powers Resolution. However, Trump has also said that he would veto the measure and lobbied against it. So, of course he has, because he doesn't want to take the time to have to argue with these people when he's going to get his way anyway. Which I guess to a degree makes some sense. If I was Trump and I was a psychopathic dictator, I wouldn't want to fucking talk to people about it either. So it is what it is. And again, all these people argue for stuff that does not matter. It does not matter. They're going to do whatever the hell they want. One of the things that has certainly become a theme of all of these videos is the government does whatever the hell they want, and they don't care what you think. So anyway, that's the first story for this week, and I think it's a pretty good one. I think that it does show that it is at least wearing on people that we've been at war for going on 20 years. So, and really, we've been at war almost the entire time the United States has been in existence. But hey, this current one has been going on for almost 20 years. They have not taken a break, even for 10 minutes, before they had to kill some people that happen to have brown skin. So, so that's going on. So the second story is corporations are working. This is my favorite this week because I just became not banned on Facebook. Yay! I can post on Facebook for the first time in months. And because I was not only kicked, I was pretty much deplatformed. They let me come in and look at my page, but they didn't let me do anything else. And they occasionally I could post new stuff, and I say occasionally because it was hit and miss. Sometimes I couldn't do it. Sometimes I could, but I couldn't share in any groups, any pages. I could only share. I have a few pages. I could only share one of my pages, which made no sense. I could share it anywhere in Anarchy, but I couldn't share it anything else, and which made no sense to me at all. And I could only share my stuff. I couldn't share your stuff. I couldn't share anything like that. I could only share my stuff, and I could not share in groups or on pages. So that went away today. So I went crazy. Because I know they're just going to take it away again. But while I got it, I'm sharing like a fiend. So, anyway, but this is more of that. And one of the things that this story is going to be is that the Trump tries to say that he's on your side and that he thinks all this censorship. And you'll hear Trump supporters say, well, they're coming after us on social media. No, they're not. They're coming up against people that are not, agreeing with any of the establishment. And I'm sorry, if you are a Trump supporter and think you are anti-establishment, your guy's the president. Come on. Obviously, he might be a little establishment if he's the president. He's the guy in charge of the establishment. But anyway, they try to pretend like Trump's trying to protect people from this happening. And that, as this is about to say, is, guess what? Bullcrap. It is all bullcrap. So, corporations, this is the headline. Corporations are working with Trump administration to control online speech. This is an op-ed from the Washington Post by Democrat from Oregon in the Senate, Ron Wyden. And Ron Wyden does some pretty decent stuff, too. He's a Democrat, so he's a socialist, but yeah, so's Trump. So, well. But anyway, but he seems to be a little bit more of one of the more honest ones. So I liked this from him. I'm not going to agree with everything, but on par, it's good that he's putting it out there and getting the information out. So some of the biggest corporations in the United States are brawling over the future of the law that allows free speech and innovation to thrive online, under the guise of getting rid of lies and protecting children, because that's always what they do. That's what the whole Greta Thunberg crap is all about. Let's use children as tools. They're working with the Trump administration and top Republicans to undermine Americans' rights and give the government unprecedented control over online speech. So all you people that are talking about, oh, Trump's on our side, that you need to go check out what's going on. While they got you looking at bull crap like the impeachment trial and all that nonsense, Trump's been working on let's control free speech. Special interests trying to influence federal laws and regulations are nothing new in Washington. Big banks and drug companies have been wildly successful at working the system to discourage competition and stay on top. Occasionally, however, Congress actually passes a law that protects the less powerful elements of our society, the insurgents and disruptors. That's what it did in 1996 when it passed a law I co-authored. This is Wyden, called Section 2230 of the Communications Decency Act. Section 230 was written to provide legal protection to online platforms so that they could take down objectionable material without being dragged into court. It lets companies remove posts from white supremacists or trolls because that's free speech. So again, this guy's not great. Okay, just to be clear, this guy is not great. He's still wanting to shut people down. You just call everybody's getting called white supremacist now. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be called white supremacist one of these days. I don't give a damn where you're from. If you're stupid, you're stupid. If you're not stupid, you're not stupid. I don't care. But the bottom line is they're going to call me a racist because it will get me shut down. And that's the whole point of all this stuff. But anyway, lets companies remove posts from white supremacists or trolls without being sued for bias or for limiting individual First Amendment rights. If a website wants to cater to the right wing, it can. If it wants to ban Trump supporters, it can do that too. Okay, so he's saying he's trying to defend it, but he still wants white supremacists to blah, blah, blah. It's all bull. So Section 230 also says that the person who creates content is the one responsible for it, as it should be. So if the President Trump libels an innocent person on Twitter, he can be sued. Without 230, social media couldn't exist. Sites such as Yelp would be sued to death. Startups such as Portland's All Go, which collects, in other words, he's arguing that they're protecting free speech by not allowing them to get sued to death. I think that's how the free market works. But if you're being a dickhead and you've said some stupid stuff, which I'm not for. I think that if you say some stupid stuff, you say some stupid stuff, and I don't think you should be able to be sued for it because speech is free. And again, this is just more ways to limit speech. So anyway, but I'm going to skip ahead. The fight is defined by an intensely lobbying effort by big legacy corporations such as Disney and IBM that are looking for an advantage against big tech companies such as Google and Facebook. Each side wants to rewrite the rules to cement its own dominance. This is what government does. You know, people talk about, without government, we'd have monopolies. Government creates monopolies. If you look at the history of the word, and Friedman gets into this quite a bit, as does Rothbard. But Friedman gets in depth into it in I think it's Capitalism. I don't remember the book, but it gets into it pretty deeply. And so anyway, it's not in Free to Choose. Anyway, can't remember the name of it right now, but Friedman gets into it and how that all monopoly is it started off as the king would say, okay, you're the only person in your region or wherever that can sell this thing, and if anybody else does, they don't have my permission. Then these set up monopolies. In a free market, you can't have monopolies because you don't have government coming in and stopping people from creating something that works. The market will dictate, and people will buy what they want. And if somebody comes up with a better idea or a better way to market it, people will flock to whoever is successful. So anyway, startups seeking to displace big tech would be hammered by constant threat of lawsuits, blah, blah, blah. So basically, what he's saying is, by all accounts, that is exactly what's happened. Backpage is shut down, the SESTA, and even went into effect, and sex workers have been driven in the dark, and which is what happens. All these regulations that they want to do, and they want to put, all that does is just send it underground. Something will happen in the net. It'll be harder for us, and we won't be able to be on Facebook. You don't have to be on MeWe. You don't have to be on Minds if you want to get any damn information, and they're going to keep it away from other people. But and they'll make it harder, and it won't be as good, and it is what it is. But there will be a black market, is what I'm saying. So this is how speech regulation inevitably works in practice. If Congress somehow were to amend the First Amendment and ban hate speech from the internet, I see no reason to believe that President Trump and Attorney General William P. Barr would use that authority to protect LGBTQ activists or female journalists or African American civil rights leaders. Instead, I'm certain that this administration would use power, in any administration. The thing is, he wants to make this a Democrat-Republican divide. That's bullcrap. It does not matter. Each of them, I mean, look at what Barack Obama did to Tea Party groups using the IRS. They're going to absolutely attack their opposing force. They're going to do that, and I realize that they actually work together and they use this for divide and conquer and all of that. But they still occasionally will go after each other. And anyway, instead, I'm certain that this administration would use power to regulate speech, to punish its enemies, and protect its allies. It would threaten Facebook or YouTube, as it's already doing, for taking down white supremacist content. It would label Black Lives Matter activists as purveyors of hate. In other words, they're going to stop doing what they're doing now, and they're going to shift it the other direction. And that's what he's afraid of. And that may be. They may use it as a divide and conquer tactic. But the bottom line is you should be able to say whatever the hell you want. And giving government the authority over anything you say is really stupid. The Second Amendment's very important, but the First Amendment's very important as well. And because frankly, all of those are very important because they represent freedoms. And this kind of goes back to my constitutional argument earlier. They're going to do what they want to do. It does not matter if a piece of paper says, "Oh, you're not supposed to do that." They're going to do it anyway because they're defying the First Amendment right now. There wasn't computers back when they were drafting the Constitution. But this is the modern day newspapers. How many people get most of their information off of Twitter and Facebook? I'd say at least of the people that actually pay attention to news, at least 70% of them get most of their stuff off of there. And if they limit what is on there, it will also drive people towards the old newspapers and nightly news and all of that stuff, which may be part of the plan as well. So all of this is to say that Trump is attacking your rights and trying to censor the internet. And you better get ready for it. Who knows how long I'll be on here. I mean, I'm new, and I'd be easy to take right out. I mean, I was taken off Facebook for posting anti-war stuff. And no warnings, that's all bull. They just shut me down because I was having some effect and was growing very quickly. So they took me out for like 3 months and completely eliminated my ability to do anything. So anyway, there are plenty of things Congress can do to hold big tech companies accountable. Congress shouldn't be doing any of that. Congress should stay the hell out of it all because government should stay the hell out of it all. The First Amendment, it's not like it's vague. It should not be abridged. You could say what you want. The whole idea isn't to protect language they liked. The whole idea was to protect people's ability to say nasty shit, to say controversial stuff. Because in some of that controversial stuff that makes power uncomfortable, you're challenging those ideas. And that's where all thought and written word and watching after what Congress is doing, all of that comes from that. So anyway, so I stand by, ready to work with anyone to hold the biggest corporations accountable. So he's twisted that back around. Anyway, there's that. So they're going, both sides are working against each other, trying, which is probably the plan, trying to get the internet under control, because largely this is even with the censorship on Facebook and YouTube and all of that, even with all of that, this is still pretty much the Wild West, and you can say an awful lot. I mean, I'm going to publish this tomorrow. So it's going to come out, and I'm going to say all these things, whether they like it or not, and that's going to happen. And at least for now on Facebook, I'm going to share all kinds of craziness and talk about all the stuff that I talk about. So anyway, so they're trying to shut it down, and so that's that. The rest of this I'm going to call the House Fool's Round, because this is House stuff. A lot of this comes from I did a search online, and this is from a site called Week in Congress. And the very beginning with the Senate stuff came from that as well. And then I dove into the NPR stuff. But this is what the House is doing. And again, these are just things that caught my attention and I think are important. They may not wind up being that important as the other stuff, but I'm still going to let you know about it. So an emergency funding bill passes the House with little Republican support. So, emergency supplemental appropriations for disaster relief and Puerto Rico Disaster Tax Relief Act 2020. This bill provides supplemental appropriations, and in other words, gives them some money, and expands tax credits to respond to the recent natural disasters, which has been going on forever. Uh, so anyway, to respond for natural disasters, emergencies that affected Puerto Rico and other U.S. territories. The funding provided by this bill is designed as an emergency spending. Everything is anything can be an emergency, and weather happens. And if they didn't plan for it, that was probably a mistake. Being that you're an island that gets hit by hurricanes, morons. Anyway. So, provided this bill is designated emergency spending, which is exempt from discretionary spending limits. In other words, we can spend as much as we want. Yay! Let's pay off some people in Puerto Rico. The bill provides $4.89 billion in supplemental appropriations for programs, which of those programs, they've already shown where like a lot of the stuff just sitting in a warehouse in Puerto Rico. Somebody got paid. So anyway. Unique to this type of legislation is the extent to which addresses specifics that are or could be affected by natural or other disasters. Besides the obvious infrastructure damage, the bill also would spend to correct problems created in areas in cyber and energy security. In other words, they're going to prop up all these companies and who paid them, I'm sure, to do so. The bill also prepares the needs for electric grid, nutritional, and educational resources and community redemption. The bill also extends tax credits and modifies related requirements that also affect the residents of Puerto Rico. The bill includes provisions regarding the child tax credit, the earned blah, 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 blah. So it passed 237 to 161. So they passed it. This is just more paying off big corporations in Puerto Rico and billions of dollars. Well, we can cut money. And then went right out of discretion. We don't need it. We made a rule. Let's how about we start ignoring that rule when we need to? So anyway, they also agree the Securing America's Port Act. This bill requires the Department of Homeland Security to report to Congress a plan to scan, so they're going to report a plan, to scan all commercial and passenger vehicles entering the United States at land port of entry using large-scale, non-intrusive inspection systems. Now, this is papers, please. They're going to X-ray everything, gamma ray imaging systems, and similar technology. Again, this is just trying to look like they're doing something at the border. I still think it's hilarious that 40% comes over via plane and they're all worried about the damn wall. But anyway, so they did that. Protecting America's Food and Agriculture Act of 2019. That authorized the U.S. Customs and Border Protection every fiscal year to hire, train, and assign to, Agriculture Act of 2000. Anyway, Border Protection every year to hire, train, and assign 240 new agricultural specialists until the total number of specialists equals the sustaining requirements identified each year in agricultural resource allocation models. So, what the hell does the border have to do with agriculture? This is how they do all this crap. This is how you wind up with, like the Department of Education having a SWAT team, and all kinds of ammunition because we gotta get that off the markets and people can't shoot and they have guns and we can't go after the Second Amendment because people get mad. But then they just take all the ammunition and what are you gonna do? Throw the gun at them? I'll smack you in the face with mine. So. Yeah, anyway, same bull crap. They're just moving money around and spending it with their buddies. So anyway, on top of that, they've removed the deadline for ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment. It's a bipartisan joint. Remember what I said. If it's bipartisan, you can guarantee you need to pull those butt cheeks apart because gonna big dick up in you then, because if they can all agree on it, woo, we're in trouble. So anyway, bipartisan joint resolution that would eliminate the deadline for ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment to the United States Constitution. In other words, so they set a deadline, get this shit done, and then they say, oh shit, we're supposed to be equal rights and everything, and it wouldn't look good if we weren't being equal. So, the original House of Representatives Senate for ratification of the ERA was March 22nd, 1979. So they originally were supposed to get this shit done by March of 1979. I've been kicking this shit down the road. It is 2020. I've been kicking this shit down again. The government's not gonna make anybody equally poor maybe, but they've been kicking this shit down the road. This is what, if they really want to do something, they're gonna do it. And if they don't want to do something, they're gonna pretend like they do, and they're gonna kick it down the bucket forever. So 1979. Just put that in your brain. It's the original date for ratification was 1979. I was 4. I was 4 years old. My wife was okay. March. My wife wasn't born yet. She was still in the belly when this shit came about. When they were first supposed to do this, my wife was not born yet. So, and I was 4. I don't know if you noticed, but I am no spring chicken. So, anyway, this is the funny shit that is government. We're gonna get this done, make everybody equal. All right, guys? Okay, well, we gotta get this done by March 1979. And then 2020. Oh, shit, it came up again. Kick her down the butt. Down the road. Oh, that's so funny. So anyway, they kicked it down the road again. So at least this week is funny because, it's better than when it's shitty like it has been. My point in this week is that this is my commentary, and I'm going to talk about it for a minute. But the government's going to do whatever the hell it wants. And one of the things they do is distract you. They distract what you're going to do, what they're doing by all this bullcrap that's been going on. Because, I've covered it. Coronavirus. There ain't anything going on with coronavirus really that matters. So of course, I'm covering this week. So I didn't get distracted. So I'm looking at what they actually did, which is nonsense. Most of what they did was nonsense. They're giving money to Puerto Rico. They're for no reason. It's been years since this crap's hit, but oh no, we gotta send them some money, and then they got a bill that they've kicked down the road since 1979. Come on. This is all such nonsense. But this is the government that you need, right? Who would build the roads from 1979 to now? They are so inefficient. They are because government's too interested in controlling you to actually get some shit done. So this is all nonsense, and they know it's nonsense. And so they're just, throwing out what they can. And meanwhile, because usually they're good about just covering it up. Like Trump's trying to censor everything, and they're like, okay, impeachment. Well, this week nothing's going on. So oops, oh shit! Somebody turned the light on him. Oh, and Trump's like, So anyway. But that's what they do. And the idea is that they try to hide everything from us. Because if people knew what was going on, it can matter now. I mean, yes, I'm laughing at all of this because it's going to continue, and there aren't any big major things going on. But I guess some of the distraction that they tried to employ this week was the tiny, tiny little thing of the War Resolutions Act, and though I agree that whatever we can do to stop them from killing people, absolutely do that. That's awesome. Mike Lee, woo! Rand Paul, woo! I'm not gonna woo Susan Collins. She's a turd. but yay. Okay. So you guys had some ethics for a day. All right, got it. But they're covering up all this other crap. And remember, whenever there's some big story, make sure to look around because there's something else going on. I guarantee it that they're hiding from you. So keep that in mind as you're being distracted and pushed. And remember that they hire people at Cambridge Analytica to keep you focused on certain things. They studied what they want, are driving you towards issues and keeping you away from other things. And remember that as you're being, the new thing next week that comes out that everybody's supposed to look at, and I'm probably going to have to cover on this, that there's probably other stuff going on. So just keep that in mind. So the quote for this week is in regards to that and the hiding of what the government is doing. And it is, which is largely what they're doing with the censorship too. So the liberties of the people never were nor ever will be secure when the transactions of their rulers may be concealed from them. Patrick Henry. And that's what I'm talking about. They're just concealing everything from us and hiding the truth because that's what governments do. So if you've liked this video, again, please like it, share it. If you like this shirt, it's available on Aquarian Anarchy store. You can find the links below. The links for everything in this is located in the bottom. I do a pretty good job at making sure that you know where everything came from. But subscribe, like, share, do all that. Buy stuff. I'm buying my own stuff like crazy because I like my stuff. I think this is a cool t-shirt. It's got stuff on the back. But yeah, look at it. Take a gander. Even if you don't buy anything, I think it's cool looking. Tell me you think it's cool. Comment in the comments section. If you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If you don't think I'm wrong, you think I'm awesome, tell me that too. I am all about listening to what you have to say. Thank you very much for your time and stay free.